guys, it's ASBYT and welcome back to a brand new video. Now, today is an interesting one because it's a topic that I've been meaning to kind of do a video on in recent weeks because if you've not had an opinion on it, then where have you kind of been in the world of smartphones? And today we are talking about the mystery of the 2018 smartphone trend that is, of course, the notch. In 2017, we saw a massive smartphone trend of this sort of bezel-less display. I mean, it was started kind of years ago with the Sharp phone, but then that never really sort of took off. But then the Xiaomi Mi Mix, the original, the first one in that series, did really turn heads, and there were many people that were excited about it. It was reviewed across the board, and then from then on, phones continued along that trend right the way through 2017, and as well as the 18:9 ratio screen, having no bezels top and sides and just having a small one at the bottom seemed to be the new thing. It was the area of moving forwards. It was the trend. And the thing about that trend is that that trend was backed up and caused because a lot of people were excited and interested in having a bezel-less phone. So that made sense. The idea of a trend, it's there because it's popular. Rightly or wrongly, it's popular and people want to see it. I've never seen a trend started and maintained on something that people didn't want. Even the trends that some people think, how is that a trend? It's because it's kind of like a guilty pleasure. And they are always really, really popular. Apart from the trending page on YouTube. Money talks. Cue the conversation about the notch. Now, Apple released the iPhone X, and this, of course, had the notch. And the notch was, from all accounts, one of the worst inventions, the worst inclusions on a smartphone the world had ever seen. Whether you're an Apple fan or an Android fan, nobody, it seemed, liked the notch. That's a slight exaggeration, but there has been a few polls done where I believe it's something like 25% of people were indifferent, under 10% of people liked it, and over 65% hated, not even disliked, hated the idea of the notch. I'm one of those in the sort of indifferent camp. Just, right from the start, before you say, why do I hate the notch so much? I don't hate the notch. I am one of those under 25% of the population which are kind of indifferent. I don't like it, I don't hate it. I hate the idea of it being a trend when it's unpopular. So that's 2/3 of the world's population who like talking and buying smartphones don't like the idea. So how has it become a trend? And you may say, well, how has it become a trend? Only the iPhone's got it. Well, if you haven't been in the news, many Android manufacturers have now included the notch on their latest smartphones. Whether they're concept phones, whether they're actually on the market or coming to market, they have, a lot of them have a notch. Here's a list of just a few. We've got the Huawei P20. We've got the Asus Zenphone 5. We've got the LG S9. We have the LG G7, if that's indeed its name that it's going to be called, because they're up in arms about whether it is going to be part of the G series or they're going to change it. But that's for another video. We have the Sharp S3, we have the iPhone 11 or the X Plus, the larger model, which we are led to believe is going to be released sort of in September this year, and it's going to look almost identical, just slightly larger. And of course, most recently, we had a leak of the OnePlus 6. Now, whether you believe the leak of the OnePlus 6 or not, there's a few sort of rumours that it may be a good Photoshop jobby, but a Photoshop jobby nevertheless. I did do a video on it here if you're interested in going and seeing that. But so many people that are fans of the OnePlus range, after I did that video, were telling me in the comments they are not going to buy the OnePlus 6 if it has the notch. So going back to the actual idea of the trend, how on earth of all of these companies thought that it is acceptable, not even acceptable, but worthwhile to include a feature that nobody wants? And some people say, well, it comes down to free marketing and they can just get sales off the back of the iPhone X. I understand why companies take things that are good about a successful brand and try and include it in their own phone for that aspect of free marketing, because you can say, well, we've got that but at a cheaper price. But the problem is you're not taking something that's good about the iPhone X and putting it into your phone. But why take the bad things about products like the Samsung S8, for example, that had the fingerprint sensor to the right of the camera? A lot of clones and a lot of other companies chose to do that as well. I can't for the life of me understand how a bad feature or a unpopular feature gets put into your own device. It baffles. The mind is blown. We've also seen in the Essential phone, for example, the notch as small as possible that just houses the camera. And to be fair, I actually quite like that design. I think it looks very premium. The actual phone build in general, it's a great phone. And that notch is, for me, symmetrical, one, and two, very small on the display, so it doesn't take up part of the real estate. To me, if Essential can do it like that, why go? It makes no sense. Again, but so you're probably asking, where's the point to this? What am I getting to? And I don't really know, to be honest. No, my first main point is, one, can manufacturers of products in general, not just smartphones, if they see a product that has a very unpopular feature and would potentially stop people from buying it, please don't follow that trend. Because for your sakes, it can't be healthy. And number two, this is more towards mainly smartphone manufacturers, just because Apple does something or just because Samsung does something, please don't just do it. And that's not a plug for Nike, all right? Because these manufacturers, Apple and Samsung, are at the top of their game for a reason. Because whether you agree with it or not anymore, because many people don't anymore, but in order to become successful, they were innovators. Whether you like it or not, whether you like Apple, whether you like Samsung, they were kind of the first in their field at certain things. And that's why they can charge pretty much what they want, because they know they'll still have a fan base that will buy those products, because they trust in that product to deliver at a certain level. If you are a smaller company, don't just copy them, because you will never ever be them. Innovate. Create something that we've not had before. Create the new edge-to-edge display that Samsung did. Create the hardware and software all-in-one that Apple did. That ecosystem. Do that. They create different devices to work all within so that they can keep everything in-house. Create something of your own like that. If you're Amazon, for example, create a smartphone that has hardware created by you, software created by you, away from Google. Do that. Don't just copy, because you will never, ever, ever be that product, and you will never be as good as that product, and you will always be seen as a copycat clone. Innovate. Change the tech scene, because the world is too small to just copy others. The consumer needs some of you companies, that's not English, if you're watching, you're probably not, to be honest. Why would you be? The consumer base is very, very quick to make something successful. It only takes a few big people, it takes a few good reviews in order to elevate something from nothing to huge. You've seen how the world of social media works. So be that next company. Be that breakaway company that does something different that Apple and Samsung did 10, 15, 20 years ago. Be 2018 onwards, the future, be that new company so that in 10, 20 years' time, people are copying you. And it'll be Apple, Samsung, and you. I used Apple and Samsung as an example. There are other wonderful companies out there that are at the top of their game. You get the idea. And that's pretty much it. Rant well and truly over. I've taken up enough of your time, and I apologise if it was a little bit long-winded, but it was just something that was kind of on top of me and has been for a while, how boring certain companies are and boring the tech industry is in terms of just following trends and all of that sort of goodness, or badness in this case. So if you did enjoy this video and found it helpful-ish, then drop a like on it for me. That would really mean the world to me. Subscribe if you're new to the channel and you're interested in tech videos pretty much daily, whether that be unboxings, reviews on smartphones, Android boxes, laptops, tablets, computers, etc. And also software and app reviews as well. I love you and leave you. I'll see you in the next one. CXPYT, peace out.